Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. We're here at Way Mountain to continue the 4Chi here. How's everyone doing? Any questions, comments, complaints? Okay, speak with open mind. Have no worries, okay? All right. We are in the midst of the studying Master YongHua's 4Chi instructions. I was there at his temples for about over 4 years. And by the time I left, I was very, very unhappy, very disappointed because I received disappointments after disappointments after disappointments and abuses, many abuses. Typically, a person like myself would retaliate. Actually, I was planning on suing them. I accumulated records to sue them. But after I'm done cultivating, I decided against it. Okay. But so I got to witness and watch a lot of things going on there, and so it's nice to be able to go through what he taught his disciples, even though it's like decades ago. But these sound fundamentals for cultivation. I agree with all what he says here. Okay. So far at this point here, he talked about controlling your food intake. Okay, that's important. At that environment, they eat 1 meal a day. There's a good reason for it. So when you come to attend their Chis and cultivate with them, their Dharma is to ration the food intake. And there's good reason for it. The reason being that food intake is what? Anyone knows? Number one, it creates attachment to the body. When you eat well, and you eat full, you feel happy. Your stomach feels happy. And that's a very subtle attachment to comfort. So what they're doing to the Chinese, doing very, very sound. Okay, and this is what you must appreciate. These people, especially Master YongHua, his track record is, I look at his track record first. He produced a lot of enlightened disciples, monks and nuns and lay people. Yeah. At least one lay person I know of, maybe 2, which is not a whole lot. Okay, but so you can talk all you want. I look at the results and I say, wow, this works. And so I followed I followed blindly what the way they practice, and it helped. It's very, very good. And now, as I'm in a position to train you, and I'm under pressure to train you, because unlike him, he had decades and he has plenty of training and experience. I don't. Okay, so the fact that he did these things now, I look at it and say, oh wow, it makes so much sense to do that. Okay, and however, when it comes to you, you are different from his disciples. Okay, his disciples, his instruction is that you go and shake hands and make people feel good about Mahayana. I would never want you to do that. Okay, it's too superficial for anyone who has wisdom to do. Okay, so this is why this is where our approach is different. This is why this section here, when it talks about food, I happen to think differently, because over the years I started with this kind of process, and then as our disciples came, and I saw what I needed to do. I experimented, and I found I like our styles much better, because you don't need to. I mean, yeah, there's advantages here, but also drawbacks. Okay, and so my interest is that if I want people to feel good about Mahayana, about your cultivation in particular, you know what I want to do? I don't want a stranger. I'm more interested in your family and your friends, your sphere of influence, you know? If you come here and you shut off communication with your family and behave abnormally, okay, you're not yourself, and when your wife calls in and you talk to her, and I usually get to scare my students, that Master is so stern when he meditated. And I said, oh wow, that's true, isn't it? I'm able to drop everything, so you strip everything down to the bare bones, okay? And it's not normal. Normal people cannot take it, especially your family, your friends, okay? Third parties who tune in here, one or two who tune in here, they say, wow, these guys are so extreme. It's not for us. And that's not my interest. My interest is that I want you to come here and cultivate and do the best you can. That's the spirit. But do not miss out on the chance to bond with your family. That's important to me. Because unless your family supports you, you cannot cultivate. If your wife keeps on nagging and you say, you neglect me, and you work all day, all week, and then when Chan Chi comes or Fo Chi comes, you drop me, and and you go on your own, so I never get to see you. Okay? And it's very bad for Mahayana from my perspective. If your family does not like your cultivation, then how can I possibly send someone out to shake hands with people when your own family dislikes it? See, I go back to fundamentals, okay? So that's why we came up with different expedients, if you will. I'd rather you enjoy the food, practice kindness and compassion. If you like that, then people will have a good impression of you, of your cultivation. That's all that matters. Okay? Instead of superficial things, I joined this group of monks and nuns who were about propagating Buddhism. And I've been to one of those meetings. They spent thousands of dollars over thousands of people, maybe hundreds of people, together and eat and talk and then walk away feeling important. I wasn't a good use of my time. I was unhappy about that. Okay, it's important for the important monks and nuns to go there and recognize each other as important pillars of Buddhism. But for me, I'm the trench kind of guy. I dig the trench with you. I fight in the trenches with you. Our people are trained to do that as well. Okay, and so that's why for this the portion of the food here, it's okay if you happen to have the condition for you to restrict your food and eat less and so forth. By all means, you can do that, but it's not necessary. It's not the only way to cultivate. And I feel that our style is much faster, okay, much more well-rounded, because it's the experience of cultivation. Don't have to be extreme. In order for you to make progress, there's certain things that need to happen. But this is not the only way. This is not what I like to do with you. Or we never had to do with people the last several years or so. Certainly the last 5 years, we deviated from his style of training a lot more and develop our own style. Yes, YouTube.
네, 김예송님의 질문입니다. 결과부자를 하고 있고 매일 앉아있는 시간을 1분씩 늘려가고 있어요. 그런데 어떤 날은 계속 떠오르는 부정적인 생각들이 쉬이 가라앉지 않을 때가 있어 결과부자 시간 내내 시달리게 되더라고요. 그래서 제가 좋아하는 유튜브 영상을 보면서 정해놓은 시간이 지나가길 바라게 되는 때가 많은데요. 생각이 잠잠해지지 않을 때는 어떻게 하면 좋을까요? 유튜브를 보더라도 그냥 결과부자만 유지해도 자기 수행에 도움이 될까요?
Master, this is from Kim Ye-song. There's two questions. I've been practicing the full lotus positions and increasing the sitting time by 1 minute every day. However, on certain days, because of the unsettling and persistent negative thoughts, I often spend the entire sitting session feeling tormented. At times, tormented, suffer.
Okay.
At times like these, I end up watching my favorite YouTube videos, just hoping the time will pass. Number one question, when thoughts once settle down, what should I do? Number two, would simply maintaining the full lotus position while watching YouTube still be beneficial for my cultivation?
Number two, yes. What's number one again? Why is it I can lose a few words here and there, keywords only? Is it a sound system? I know it's not my ears. When I talk to people normally, I can hear you. What is it? What's going on? Can we fix this problem? Because it looks very bad and a waste of time because I have to keep on asking for the questions or the things to be repeated. No one seems to mind this problem. I do mind. It's a waste of my time and your time. What's question number one again, please?
First question is, when thoughts won't settle down, what should I do, Master?
Once thoughts settle down, what should you do?
Doesn't settle down.
Doesn't settle down, you keep going. It's a process. It's not supposed to be an end goal. You can just keep at it. Okay? Don't try to look for an answer. Don't look for results. What we teaching you is a process, training that's various aspects of it. And as you continue and you do it, part of it is for you to ask questions, and that's a very good idea. But keep going. Don't try to understand too much. It's about question number two is about bearing it. It's not, I don't care right now because your level is so low that if you watch YouTube or watch K-drama or Taiwan drama or movies or whatever, it doesn't matter right now. Okay, it's about training your legs, okay, and bearing the difficulties. Okay. Anyone else? All right. Okay. So as I was saying, we listen to this because I want you to understand how the proper Chinese training is, and it's very sound. Therefore, in the future, if you by yourself, you have no one to talk to, and you happen to be in prison or in the mountain or in the valley by yourself, and these are very good standards, because I met monks who thought of going to, somewhere in India, near India. What's that country called? Nepal. to go into a grotto and grove to practice with a bunch of people there. This is where you don't go there and bring a lot of comfortable things for you, like water boilers and water, the jori-jushi things that you have water there and all the conveniences of food and so forth. And I watched those videos of those Chinese people who went and interviewed these so-called cultivators. They're eating too well by themselves. It's a very bad sign. Okay, very, very bad sign. Okay. And so there's this guy here I know that I like a lot. He thought of going there, and I look at the way and say, oh my God, you go there, you're going to be in trouble. I didn't dare say anything. And you know, it's funny thing, he has so much blessings that he never could make it. It's a waste of time. It's very dangerous. You're there by yourself. They will come and get you, especially when you attach to food here. Okay? All right, there's a lot of more things going on. Yes, K-YouTube. Okay. All right. And so, but for us, I also saw the drawbacks on my teacher's approach, is that after 10 years or 20 years of practices, I feel these people lack finesse, lack culture, lack people skills. They're too isolated. They in their environment, they're so much better than anyone else that they should be more humble. To us, the big sign of success is when you become humble, not become more arrogant or become a bully. If you understand where you stand, you never are arrogant. Okay? You never think you're smarter than others, let alone bully others. That's disgusting. And to impose your will on others just because you think you're right is so wrong. When you're stronger, you never impose your will on others. Never. It's self-respect. The person of self-respect would never impose his will on anyone else, or let alone manipulate others to go your way. It's so wrong. It's a lack of respect. So you may have wisdom, but if you don't have that proper foundation, you can't go that much higher. Okay? And this is why I insist on you, especially you parents, teach your children this, watch them, and catch those moments where they lack respect and teach them to be respectful towards everyone. Not just elders, but also the juniors. You know, this is wisdom. This true wisdom is when you have deep respect for people, and that respect is deeper and deeper and deeper. All right. So, you know, if you come here, and many of you are from far away to come, and you know there are nice things here. We have cultures here in LA, we have cultures in San Francisco, we have cultures in Korea. Okay, you don't want to go to Korea and only insist on instant noodles because you miss instant noodles and rice, and you know and need to eat to restrict your diet and force yourself to eat less and less and less. That's baloney to me. Okay. it's not the only way for you to make progress. The way the Chinese do it is very, very effective if you have no guidance. You're on your own, that's very good guideline. But here, we're watching over you, we're guiding you. That's why we can take a lot more liberties. And that's why next generation, after I'm done, I will train my people for one more generation, possibly two, depending on how much help I get, to continue this process. Okay? We put a stamp on it. And if you don't have this kind of help, this kind of guidance, you should stick back to this here. This is very sound. All right? So that's why do not discard this. It's very worthwhile to go through what great Master YongHua, how he trained his disciples. Okay? So that's why those of you who disagree with me say I'm a fake monk and scam or whatever, you probably are right. You could go back to him. He follow his teachings and follow his instructions. At least you go somewhere. Okay? Don't trust yourself. All right? Any questions? Okay, let's go through this. Last night we heard the audio and corrected a few corrections, and I was corrected again with the English translation. So it's about respect ghosts and gods, but from a distance. Thank you for the correction. You see, this is we learn from each other. I really like it when you pitch in. Okay, we all pitch in to help understand better and improve ourselves in all aspects. All right. And I'm not sure why he's talking about this. Respect ghosts and gods from a distance. To me, respect ghosts and demons. Yeah, we should respect them. But gods, I like to go near them. I like gods. They have good stuff, good music, good food, good tea, good everything. Okay, it's a cultural experience, folks. If I can have a glimpse of that, I go back here and start some manufacturing things and make a lot of money. Okay, anyway, and like food and drink, but from a distance. If I really like it, I'd like to enjoy more and more of it. Okay, but that's the Chinese wisdom here. And he complains that, when you serve me too much and you want me to be back and you give me a lot of good things, so milk and drinks. And the more you do that, the more I want to, the more the less he wants to come back. I'm the opposite. The more you give me, the more I feel guilty, and I would come back and try to pay you back. Okay, I won't eat. By the way, I will eat only enough. If I choose to stuff myself, I have my reasons, but don't worry about me not stuffing myself. I like it because I like to share it with my disciples, so that other people cannot tempt them. I tell you a funny story. I was at Long Beach Monastery, following the Chinese style. Okay, where we ate lean and we ate only one meal a day, and the kids, of course, got to eat breakfast. But I don't have appetite in the morning, so I didn't eat breakfast. But you do this, and then they're kids, so we take them out, go play, go camping, and so forth. And one time we went to camping in Yosemite. Okay, and the mosquito ate me alive. But on the way back, lots of things happened there. On the way back, there's a guy, there's a Vietnam guy who, because the head person is Vietnamese, so that's why there's a Vietnam guy who threw his money at him. And on the way back, he we ran out of food, so we stopped by Pizza Hut. I still remember this. Pizza Hut here in the US, Pizza Hut, it's garlic. Okay? And we don't eat garlic. Okay? But the excuse is that we ran out of food and we're not going to make it back to the temple by 11, before 11, therefore might as well eat Pizza Hut. That's the only thing that we can eat that doesn't have meat. Okay? So we sat down, and after being at the temple at the time, I was inside their system for about 2 years. Haven't had pizza yet for 2 years. You like Pizza Hut? Yeah, me too. So we all so happy to have Pizza Hut. I was salivating, to be honest with you. And you know what? That Vietnam guy there, he hang out with us. He's self-employed. He pull out a roll that's about $1,000. You're like a drug dealer, you know? You know what I'm talking about? And he said, eat anything you want. Okay? And he looked at me, and of course at the time I'm very strict. I don't talk to you. I'm cultivator. I'm true cultivator. You know, I only eat one meal a day. I don't eat onion, garlic. You know, we are pure, man. And he looked at me and said, "Would you like some more pizza?" And he saw me salivating. Because the point being that I was ashamed of myself to let him see me salivate. I said, never again for my people. No one can lure my people for them to lose the faith like that. Because when you're like this, people will come and test you. You know, and say, "Hey, are you for real? You phony, aren't you?" And they do all sorts. The guy did all sorts of things to test me the entire trip. I wasn't very liked in general, so I was a prime target to get embarrassed. Okay, so anyway, don't worry about it. I'd rather you experience all the good things and you say, now I know what it's like. I don't have to be curious about it anymore. That's all. All right? But for them, it's like, I'm here. If you entice me too much, I'm not gonna come back again. And he went on about following year, I may have made up my mind, so forth. Okay, so anyway, this is what he was teaching his disciples. That's what I was following for a while. Okay, enjoying good food too much will exhaust your blessings through enjoyment. Then your life is shortened. Okay, it's true. You eat well, the more good food you consume, actually you are shortening your life. Actually, it causes problems. That's why moderation is better for you. Okay, now, but on the other hand, you eat good food. There's also you can compensate for it. So that's why it's not fixed. All right. Don't go extreme on me. I eat one meal a day, he says. I slowly eat what I'm supposed to eat, so I can live a little longer. Okay, that's what he's used himself as to teach his disciples. He says, eat one meal a day. It's very important to chew slowly. Okay, and that's his style. he didn't eat much. Therefore, he chewed very slowly, okay, to maximize the nutrition, okay. That's a good idea. For me, at the time, and this is not real. For me, we only have one meal a day, and we start at about 11 or so. We need to do Che Zai by 11:50. So at the time, when I was at the City of 10,000 Buddhas, lots of people there, and so basically everyone was swallowing like crazy. We chew maybe once or twice and swallow so that we could eat more. Okay, so my point being that you should do what you can. There's no one standard for everyone. Okay, if you're hungry, eat more, swallow more. That's why in our temple we supposed to end at before noon, but we sometimes stretch to 1 p.m., even longer, because for various reasons. Maybe because at Go Force, for example, I would eat and then I slow down and they started chewing. And then sure enough, 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, a new person came in and she would bring in more stuff. So they trickle in. So that's why when you slow down, you get to try more flavors, more things. Apple usually bring bread very early. And it's very considerate. You say, they have to stop at noon, but then we stretch it to 1 p.m. Sometimes longer if we have important things to discuss, like politics, and argue over politics. Okay, so don't worry about it. It's to me, it's bonding. So in our temples, it's funny. Someone said that they dream of the relative coming back from a Pure Land, very muscular, and I said, in our neighborhood in a Pure Land, we have a state-of-the-art gym. Okay? Because I believe in bonding. I like it when we have things that give you and your family a chance to come and enjoy yourself, just spend time together, okay, for whatever reasons. So at Go Force, for example, and their family members will go to our little gym, for our people only, to work out together, okay, and they like it. I like it, okay. So it's not fixed. And then he says, I don't necessarily have a mark of a lifespan, meaning he's too worried about life, prolong his life, okay? So he's not that really worried about it. But he says, I need to live longer. And this is where I have a problem. If he needed to live longer, why did he leave at the age of 74? His kids were not ready for it. Okay, and so anyway, he I'm sure he has his reasons. And I eat well enough to support his body and his breath. That's enough, like good food, but from a distance. Okay, and that's what I used to do too. I used to like it. You really like it a lot. I loved it. I wish I could go back there and eat like this, because that's ideal conditions for cultivation. So I know what he's talking about. It feels very, very nice. Okay. So this is Chinese good food, but from a distance. Are we there yet? How far am I supposed to go? 71. Okay. How here is to enjoy and like. Okay. But don't like it too much. So that's how he explains this. So he uses humor too to talk about food and watch what's your food intake. Are we there? Okay. Questions? Go ahead.
这个做师傅的不是单单教你们这个佛法，也教你们世间法。世间法呀，就吃东西不要吃太多了。
So as your master, I am not just teaching Buddha Dharma, but also worldly Dharma. Worldly Dharma is to not eat too much.
我美国的弟子啊，所有的弟子都知道，吃东西啊，只吃8分饱，不吃10分饱。
All my disciples know to eat only till 80% full, not 100% full.
那么想不到我这个做师傅教徒弟怎么样教反而跑到香港来受你们这一些个弟子的当吃得太饱了。
However, as the master who taught my disciples to do so, when I came to Hong Kong, I was tricked by my disciples and ate too much.
所以这回呀，我回去也没有面目见了这个美国的那些个听话的徒弟了。那么不听话的徒弟，那当然不管他了。
So this time, I won't be able to face my obedient American disciples when I get back. Of course, I don't need to worry about the disobedient disciples.
那么听话徒弟师傅你叫我们少吃一点你到香港吃的动弹都不会动弹。
But for the obedient disciples, Master, you told us to eat less, but you went to Hong Kong and ate till you couldn't move.
你说这多倒架子，这个师傅怎么样做法？
This is so embarrassing. How can I be a master like that?
那么我现在呀，要坦白告诉你们大家，你们见着我美国的徒弟，可以呀，辗转呢传给他们
Now I am going to tell you frankly. When you meet my American disciples, you can tell them.
说你们师傅啊，都是对吃东西都自己不能节制。
Your master couldn't even control his food intake.
你们都要不要学他这个吃亏上当的法了，都是吃饱一点好。
You shouldn't learn his dharma of being fooled. It is better to eat your fill.
那么这个看看他们是有信心没有？要有信心呢，他们还会那么节饮食吃东西只吃8分饱，不吃10分饱。
Then this is to see if they have faith or not. If they have faith, they will continue to moderate their food intake, eating only 80% full, not 100%.
那么修道这个吃东西也很要紧。你如果不小心或者吃太多了，就容易生胃病。
When cultivating the way, you must watch how much you eat. If you are careless or eat too much, then you will easily get stomach problems.
你要吃太少了，也容易生胃病。你生了胃病这个身体就不健康。
If you eat too little, you will
you will also easily get stomach problem. If you get stomach problems, then your body won't be healthy.
不健康之后啊，你再怎么样子，去调养它，就不容易调了。
When the body is unhealthy, no matter how much you try to nurse it, it will be difficult to recover.
所以呀，那么凡是修道的人，对这个饮食上啊，要特别注意，也要不注意。
So all cultivators must pay special attention to what you eat, but also not pay attention.
Okay, let's backtrack a little. Okay, 71. So he continues with his eating dharma. It is very good eating dharma. If you don't know, the rule of thumb is to eat less. Okay, and not necessarily 80%, but certainly not 100%. Okay, so this I'm referring to. This is the Chinese style of cultivation, and that's a good way to gauge yourself. Okay, and don't eat too much, and don't overstuff yourself. And you yourself know. Okay, so 80 whatever. It's certainly not 100%. And he says, but then when I'm here, I teach you there, I fly to Hong Kong and I overstuff myself, and therefore I lose credibility, okay? So the point here is the master does his own things, and somehow the students hold the master to the same standards, okay? And that's typical of the students back then, because they didn't know any better, and so it's best that if your disciples, if the students are not enlightened yet, we should set the example yourself, okay? And this is what happens to the Buddha Dharma. The Buddha set up these rules, these regulations in order, that's for everyone, for enlightened people as well unenlightened, okay? And that's a good thing to learn as a foundation, but as you get a little bit higher into the enlightenment range, enlightened people range, then there are more extenuating circumstances. There's a lot more freedom than you think. Okay, so that's why. Yes, it is. So my point, what I'm trying to teach you is that if you have not been enlightened yet, then it's best to follow the rules and regulations. And eventually, after you become enlightened, when you reach a certain level, then there's a lot more freedom. Like Master YongHua here, he doesn't really need to follow the rules as much because he has. It's better that he does things that way, okay? He has his reasons, very good reasons, okay? So the point being that if you're not enlightened yet, you have not been certified to be enlightened yet, don't look at Master YongHua's appearances, what he does, and judge him, okay? That's wrong. And this applies to you monks and nuns as well. Applies to his disciples as well, okay? You are not enlightened yet. Don't look at others. It's because you keep on looking at others, that's why you're not enlightened. Okay. So in cultivation, there's stages. where if you have not been certified yet, okay, then mind your business. Whatever people do, it's none of your business. Don't look at them, don't criticize them, don't make comments, because you're violating the rules and regulations. Even if someone is wrong and you criticize them and so forth, and you're not enlightened yet, you are in trouble, I assure you. And that's what Master YongHua never spelled it out for them. And because the problem with this type of thing is that they never really learned precepts. He never taught them precepts at all. Okay, and I know because we had to invite some Dharma master, some Puto Su in Taichung to come and teach us precepts when there was a full ordination, and later I went there and I realized that their knowledge on the men's side, at least, a precept is like virtually zero. Okay, and that's why I'm telling you, I'm stressing for you. Let me stress this for all of you, including his disciples, his monks and nuns as well. If you're not enlightened yet, mind your business. You're creating offenses, serious offenses, and you're going to be in big trouble. Okay, and if after you become enlightened, when you reach a certain level, there's a lot more going on than you see. There's a lot more going on. So that's why don't take whatever he says as face value. Okay? A master cannot even control his food intake. That's not true. Being full is better than eat your fill. Okay? And so he stresses here. Okay? When you practice here, like you're doing the Fo Qi or the Chan Qi and so forth, after this Fo Qi here, you should reduce your intake if you like. Okay, but I believe I'm on the other side, because I feel that if you naturally, the circumstances are such that you are able to go deeper in your cultivation, because sometimes you only have an hour, sometimes you only have a day. For me to tell you to reduce your food intake for one day, it doesn't make sense. You only have a few days to enjoy yourself. Okay? But if you're going to be here for the entire week or a longer term, then reducing your food intake is not a bad thing. And we even have a better thing. You should even consider fasting, which is much better than reducing your food intake, if your body can take it. Okay, so we have alternative things, but reducing food intake is not a bad idea. Okay, and it naturally happens. You just aware of the concept, and will happen. It naturally happen because as you practice, you get deeper every day. Then your qi builds up in your stomach, and you naturally feel less hungry. And actually, when food comes in, actually it's a burden for you. Okay, it's a very nice state. It naturally happens. So naturally, every day, if you keep going, if your kung fu increases, your qi builds up, you naturally eat less and less and less. That's natural. So I don't believe in like 80% or 60% or 40%. I heard all these numbers, and I tried them. It never made sense to me. Okay? But the concept is, naturally, you only have to guard yourself against gorging yourself too much. That's all. Okay? But your body will tell you. Eat too little, you have stomach problems. Not necessarily. When you become enlightened, then eating too little actually is a very good thing. You see, I contradict him right away, because that's what he and his people do to reach a certain state that I'm not going to tell you about. Okay, it's their secret. Okay, and they think they only them know because he didn't teach me. When I look at them, as I look at him, I look at them, and say, that's why you're doing this. Okay, and in the future, I will teach some of you, just so that we have the technology, okay, as well. We just don't care for it. That's all. Okay, because to me, there's some nice things about it. There's some disadvantages I feel would outweigh the advantages. That's why I don't do it. It's not for us yet. Okay, and so eating too little, actually, again, if you, after we get to 1G and so forth and higher, eating too little actually could be good for you. Okay, so it depends. At this point here, his disciple is very low, so that's why he had to talk like this. You see, the Dharma is always directed at the listeners. So there's a time difference here, and the audience is different. Your level is much higher than his disciples back then. So that's why take this with a grain of salt. Body's unhealthy, my nurses will be difficult to recover, of course. Pay attention what you eat, but not pay attention. So the new subject. This is true teaching. This is what I hear. This is what I search for when I listen to people's instructions. He says, don't eat too much. And then eventually he says, but do not eat too much either. And that's called the middle way. Okay? I'm sharing this with you because when you look for a teacher, you need to be careful. They talk about like so pure and so forth. That's extreme. That's too one-sided. Okay? Okay, it's just like in politics, you only have go to the right or to the left too much. There is a problem. You have to be somewhere. Okay, there's a compromise somewhere. Otherwise, we can't function. So same thing in cultivation. Okay. You can talk about not eating less and less and less, but then also you also have to consider the other side as well. Okay, that's what you want to watch for over time in the instructions. Okay, and this is what happened to the people who learn a little from a great teacher like him, who have not practiced to the ultimate yet. They only see one side. They don't see the others. And because of this, the way that the diet is actually preventing them from seeing the other side. That's why I'm not teaching my disciples. It's a race. Okay? Who gets there first? He gets the big prize. That's life. It's American technology. Okay, so he says here, this is next section, must pay special attention, but not pay attention. You see? You don't get to hear this very often from the teachers. Always said, I know so much about this, but never say, but I don't know much about this or that. Okay, so we start at this couple of slides here, and they really listen more. We hear more. See, pay attention what you eat, not when you pay attention. Okay, and then he continues. Continue, please.
咱们特别注意呢，特别注意就不要吃的那么多，不要吃的那么好，也要不注意。怎么叫不注意呢？
How do you pay special attention? Pay special attention is to not eat too much and not eat so well. You should also not pay attention. What is not pay attention?
你不要入这个产生香味触法，不要被这个饮食转。
You shouldn't attach to the form, sound, scent, taste, touch, and consciousness. Do not be turned by food.
不入产生香味触法，就没有这么多的分别心。
If you do not attach to the form, sound, scent, taste, touch, and consciousness, then there will not be this many discriminating minds.
没有这么多的分别心，就像吃药似的。这个药治是来治这个身体这个恶病，把这。
Without this many discriminating minds, eating is just like taking medicine. This is only to cure the body's hunger disease.
把这个恶病治好了，那么就来调息佛法。如果你要不吃饭也不行的，不吃。
When this hunger disease is cured, then you can study the Buddha Dharma. To not eat is not right either.
吃饭，你佛所以日中一食。咱们现在金山寺所有的出家人、在家人，在那儿在金山寺常常来的那个居士，多数都吃一餐。
So the Buddha ate one meal a day. Now at Gold Mountain Monastery, all the monastics and the majority of the laity eat one meal a day.
那么这样子，他们时时都来研究佛法。我讲的讲经我自己承认我自己讲的不好，讲的也不对。
Now, constantly investigating the Buddha Dharma, I admit that my sutra lectures are not good and also incorrect.
Okay, let's stop. Okay, let me finish the point about food. I think he's switching to something else. Where were we? Okay. '85. Okay. You see, I like this. This is where, when you learn, you need to be balanced message. He says, you should pay attention to what you eat, but also not pay attention. So he taught you about paying attention, taught his disciple about not paying attention as well. Okay? That's a technique. This is a sage. Okay? Pay attention, but there's also the side where you don't pay attention. That's middle way. Okay? What you pay special attention to, don't eat too much. Don't eat too well. Especially, again, I stress for you, if you by yourself, this is very good guideline. Okay? It's very, very powerful Dharma. It sounds so simple, but it's extremely beneficial. Okay? That's why I told you when I saw that monk who was planning to go to Nepal and see what he was planning, I said, oh boy, are you going to be in trouble because he doesn't know about this food Dharma here. If you don't know about this food Dharma, you will have problems, serious problems, when you're by yourself. That's why I saw all those people in the videos of the Chinese people who went to interview those people who lived in those caves. I said, in trouble, in trouble, in trouble, in trouble, all of them. Okay? It's best not to do that. Anyway, so what do you not pay attention to? pay attention to the form, the sound, scent, taste, touch, and consciousness. Do not be turned by food, okay? If you don't attach to the form, sound, scent, taste, touch, and consciousness, then this will not be this many discriminating minds. So yes, so you see, another aspect of this that he spells it out for us is that when this food dharma here actually helps you rein in your discriminating mind. It's very fundamental training, okay, that only a teacher like Master YongHua was able to spell it out for us. I never met anyone else. I never read anyone else who has this kind of details like him. Never. Again, that's why the results, his disciples are pretty impressive. Were impressive. Okay? Yes, 5.
Emitofuo, Master. The movie you were talking about, is that called Amongst White Clouds, where they're in the Chinese mountains cultivating by themselves? And there's an old monk also saying that whoever cultivates on this mountain by himself, he guarantees they'll go to the Pure Land or he'll go to the hells himself.
Never saw that one, but that's baloney. No such a thing. I told you this morning, no one can guarantee you can go to the Pure Land. No one. Only Amitabha makes that decision at that time. Who are you to say, I guarantee you, unless you're Amitabha Buddha? Okay? And if it's Amitabha Buddha, he would never do that, because then he puts people like me out of business. The rest of us out of business. So that's why I don't believe that. Okay, but I never saw that video. Good thing. It's a waste of my time. It's a video made by some young Chinese guy who went to Nepal, and he went from cave to cave and talked to all those people. So he took videos. I saw, rice cookers and water heaters and all those things. I said, wow, this is so comfortable. I'd love to cultivate like that. These guys have everything they needed. And the whole point of going into the cave is to have nothing at all. And if you have that kind of comfort, I would like to go to a cave too myself. Okay? I'd love to be there for about 10 years. It would be so cool. And I come back and make a video for you. And another thing I saw also from a rather famous Chan temple as well. The guy went into seclusion for 3 years. And so they locked him up. And after 3 years, they unlocked the door. And the guy came out, okay, the young guy, about his 20s or maybe early 30s. And so I was very curious, what is this person here? Okay, he came out, and after 3 years, I immediately looked at him and said, uh-oh, you messed up. Because he was, after 3 years of being in isolation, for 3 years, he was thinking about the day when he would be freed. He was so happy looking at everyone. Whereas if you're in isolation, it means you only look at yourself. So that's why the method is wrong. So I say, don't go there. Don't do Chan there. This is a waste of time. These instructions are wrong. You don't send people into seclusion for 3 years and not tell them what to avoid. Like Master YongHua says here, you're going to practice Chan Chi here. These are the things that you should avoid. Okay? And it's fundamentally, after 3 years, the guy was so happy. He said, he was looking around. Okay, so anyway, for professionals like us, we look at it, oh, that's no good. So we avoid these things, okay? No, that video is no good. That guy is no good. Remember to dump those, those names. I have a folder of names where I classify them as garbage dumps. So anything in that name, I dump them into that. It's a waste of time. Infection. And so do not attach the form to sound, scent, taste, and so forth, the dust and so forth. And the point here is, is to reduce your discriminating mind, your discriminations. That's very good. And see, so that's why and the fundamentals are very important. The instructions are very important. Okay, so that's why I'm so grateful to Master YongHua for teaching my generation of these fundamentals. Without this, it's so easy to go astray and waste your lives. And I've seen too many people waste their lives. People who are so sincere, who would isolate themselves and go to the cave and give up everything. It's so impressive. But if they don't have the proper guidance, they don't have the proper instructions, they think they can simply go and isolate themselves, boy, are they so wrong. You can get in trouble because they get nowhere. That's why the demons don't bother with them. But if they get anywhere at all, the demons will come and cut their heads off and confuse them. Yes, YouTube.
네, 유튜브에 두 가지 질문이 있습니다. 유불도님의 질문입니다. 스님께서 말씀하시길 보살 선지식과 함께 수행하거나 참회하면 더 효과가 있다고 하셨습니다. 줌 유튜브와 같은 실시간 온라인으로 보살과 함께하거나 보살을 녹화한 영상을 틀어놓고 해도 그런 효과가 있나요? 두 번째 질문입니다. 하이라이트 롱님의 질문입니다. 고기나 오신채를 먹으면 일반적으로 수행자가 이것을 정화시키는데 2, 3일 소요된다고 선화상인께서 말씀하셨다고 들었습니다. 오신채를 자의가 아닌 불가항력적으로 먹게 될 때 핑크가 높아질수록 혹은 어쩔 수 없이 고기 오신채를 먹고 난 후 수행의 특정 기간 인텐시브하게 하면 이를 정화시키는 데 기간이 짧아질 수 있는 것일까요?
Master, there's two questions for YouTube. First one, Master said if the Bodhisattva or good knowing advisors, if we practice together and repent, there will be, when we repent or practice, if we do that in presence of Bodhisattva or good knowing advisor, I heard that it's more effective. So what if we use Zoom or the YouTube online, we be with the bodhisattvas, or we watch the videos of the bodhisattva. Is that going to be also as effective?
Not 100% as effective, but it's you have far greater benefits than if you were to do it by yourself. But if you were to go there in person, it's much better. Second question. See, now I can hear clearly. What happened?
Way Mountain Temple, please turn on the front, Sarah.
Check. The second question is, it's about eating meat or 5 pungent food. This person said she heard about Great Master Shenhua's teaching, and he said generally a practitioner, if they eat meat or 5 pungent food, it takes about 2 to 3 days to purify the body. So in a case that we ended up eating meat or 5 pungent food, if the samadhi level goes up and it was not the will of the person who's eating, this cultivator, he doesn't want to eat, but in a situation he ended up eating meat and the 5 pungent food. So if someone has a high Kung Fu level, is that purifying time 2 to 3 days? Would that be shortened? Thank you.
I don't know. How about you becoming enlightened and then find out for yourself and tell us? I have no idea. Okay. You ask about yourself. I can tell you, but you ask about others. I have no clues. All right. But thank you for the questions. With eating is like taking medicine. This is Buddha's teaching to cure the body from a hunger disease. That's correct. Are we there yet? Not yet. When you cure, then you can study the Buddha Dharma. To not eat is not right either. Therefore, you should eat, except when you're fasting. Okay. Buddha ate 1 meal a day. People eat 1 meal a day. Okay. All monastics, majority of the lady eat 1 meal a day. And that's his practice at his temple. And that works very well for them. Okay. Again, work well, but it has drawbacks. Yes, 8.
Emitofuo Master, I would like to ask you, you say something about to go deeper into cultivation. Instead of do 1 meal per day, we can maybe consider fasting. So I would like to ask you about when is the best moment or period of meditation, maybe Fochi or Chanchi, to do fasting, or if you, maybe Fochi is okay to do it. So if you can comment about this.
Okay. Fasting is, the way we do it actually is quite difficult, quite dangerous. Okay, so that's why it's best you do it at the temple, where we keep an eye on you. And best you try very slow. Do, for example, first time 3 days, okay? And then if still okay, add more, another day, and so forth. You have nothing to prove. There's no need to, there's no rush, okay? So for fasting, the best time is like during the qis here. For example, my master's temples over there, they have a lot of things, and one of the things I chuckle at is like some like bi zui, something like, what is it? Chu jing, huh? Jing yu, whatever. They stop talking. Okay. I do not like that Dharma, the Chinese Dharma at all. I think it's nonsense. Okay? And the reason I feel it's better for you to talk, because that's how you practice kindness and compassion. It's the best time to learn about kindness and compassion at the temple, at our temples. Okay? For you to stop talking is total nonsense. Okay, and so, but fasting here, the way we do is also quite different from theirs. And theirs, they have told by his disciples. I don't know whether I should believe him or not. They have mantras, they have things. I did hear it beforehand as well, where they can help them last longer and so forth. And our style is we want you to suffer as quickly as possible. Time is of this essence. Why delay the suffering? You know, and then you can brag to people, I can do 36 days. And you do 1 day and you suffer more than 36 days, I'm a lot happier. Okay? Anyway, so try during the qi here, because you personally, you've been exempt from kitchen duties, therefore not a bad time to fast. Okay, any other questions? Yeah. Okay, and he says, I think it's next section, right? He says, he knows that his sutra lectures are not good and also incorrect. That is true. Okay, some of his lectures are not that good, and some are not correct. Okay, but very rare. And still willing listen to me to speak incorrectly. Okay, we stop right here. Okay. Okay. So here's my instruction for you. He gave them gave you, the general practitioners. These are the rules you should follow in terms of when you go into seclusion and you practice by yourself. Pay attention to food. This is why, point number one, I was unhappy, very unhappy, actually upset that this is not made available, published online so that everyone can use it, because this is a great teacher, folks. That you should, he came to our world, came to this country to teach us, bring us the excellent Chinese technology to help us become enlightened, help us have the proper techniques for cultivation. And yet, all this treasure here should be shared freely. No one should have exclusive rights to it. That's how I feel. Okay, actually, it's a treasure, therefore, a Dharma treasure from our teacher. Therefore, it's our responsibility, it's our duty to make it available freely. All of it. You don't need to worry about alteration. They can mess up with the AI and so forth. It doesn't matter. Okay, it should be made available so that the people who plenty of people who have conditions with him will be able to listen to these instructions and will be better off in their cultivation. And this is something that I really, really fail to understand, why he never spelled it out for them. It's a treasure that is meant to be disseminated freely, widely, everywhere. We have so much junk online, on the internet, on everywhere. And even if we make his teachings available, it's still minute compared to the junk that's out there. Okay? And so it's a crime to me that it's not being made available. Okay? Instead of building Buddha halls and building things, if they simply make this available and spend the resources, the time, put more people in making this available, they'll be much better off in their cultivation. Because you want to make progress in cultivation, the rule of thumb is you help others cultivate first. Don't worry about your own cultivation. If I want you to bond your family and your friends and so forth because it helps them. That's the spirit of our cultivation. We cultivate to help others, to benefit others, not only ourselves alone. So that we are true cultivator. Crap. If you still see yourself cultivating, you're not a true cultivator. Yes, 7.
Master, this is available online, the audio and the text. So this is this is 40 slides.
He has a mountain of tapes. And that's available. Only this is available? That's my point.
100 Days of Chan, they have the article online, and they created books for it now, but the audio isn't available.
The raw version should be made available. They should not do any editing. They don't have enough wisdom to cut and paste. I'd rather have the raw version where I want to see how he was teaching, and that would give me an idea of who was there, why he said these things. Okay? That's much more important, much more interesting. Yes, one. But it's a very small portion of what they have. What they have is mountains of tapes. Okay? You should spend money just transcribing it and then dump it out in the world. Yes, one. That's big vision. That's wisdom there.
It's from our YouTube audience. This is from Samson Lau, Emitofuo master. Ever since I started praying to Guanyin, I've stopped eating beef since high school. I know that many Guanyin practitioners don't eat beef, but if I eat other meats like pork and chicken and garlic and onion, does simply not eating beef do any good? Thank you.
Well, any kind of reduction of meat intake is a good thing. Don't be so harsh on yourself. Okay, if conditions are not suitable for you to not eat meat, then eat meat. The 5 precepts do not prohibit you from eating meat. It's a misconception in the Buddhist circles, Buddhist world, where they say you have to take the 5 precepts, therefore you cannot eat meat. You can't eat meat in the 5 precepts. The Hinayana monks eat meat. The Tibetan monks eat meat and eggs and everything. It's not. It's not that strict. But when you are in an intensive training program, like a time period, like a Qi here, so these kind of instructions are very, very, very useful for those of you who go to like a Sonbang in Korea. I wish that over there people would start listening and investigating this in the Sonbangs instead of they need to get into proper instructions. Then they can go a lot further in their practices. Because again, I'm very practical. Whatever you tell me, and then look, your instructions. What are the results of your instructions? So this is my advantage. I look at his instruction, I listen to his instruction, and look at his disciples. With this, you can go that far. That's a proof to me that it works. When I look at the other, like the Chinese instruction, or the Chinese instruction, Tibetan instruction, I look at them and I look at their results. I say, if you give this kind of instruction, this is how far they could get. That's all. That's the bottom line for me. How far do you get with the instructions? It's like construction. How high, how tall building can you build with the proper foundation? Okay, this is a foundation for cultivation. It is very, very useful for everyone. Okay, and it should be made available and translated to all the languages. All right, and that's something for you Koreans to think about. Okay, I strongly encourage you to translate these things in these tapes, these instructions into Korean, and make them available. This is you. If you go into a Sonbang, and for 3 months, every day you should be listening to this, 1 hour a day. Okay? And if you have questions, you can ask us. We'd be glad to share what we understand. Okay? It's to help everyone. It's not meant for you to hold his hostage so that people must kowtow to you and so forth. Nonsense. You're losing on opportunities to create blessings for you by helping others cultivate better. All right. And so he talked about the Dharma of eating. Okay, let me tell you my version of Dharma eating. Okay, as long as you come to our temples, okay, if you are by yourself, I would follow his guidelines. I follow his guideline. It's very, very helpful. And if you follow them, you discover things I'm not covering here. This is what happens. If you follow instructions, then you understand why. If you only listen and you only, now I know how to do it, then you never understand the intricacies and what is the meaning behind it, the reason behind these instructions. And we don't tell you everything because it's meant for you to discover. Okay? And so if you by yourself, absolutely, you should follow the instructions. Okay? If there's no one, but you hear in our temples, I don't take the instructions very seriously. Okay? I only listen in, but because here you don't have to worry about cutting intake. My attitude is that it happens naturally. Okay, if you the conditions are perfect for you to reduce your food intake, it will naturally happen, and will not stop you, will not meddle with you, if that's what you wish. But if conditions are that it's that you want to enjoy food, enjoy the culture here in Southern California, Northern California, Korea, and so forth, enjoy. There's nothing wrong with it. There are other ways that we are doing to help you make progress. This is not the only way. All right? And what about not following instructions? Not following, and the flip side of it, what he talked about is I tell you this, and I tell you not to do. I tell you to do this, and also not to do that. Okay, and my instruction about not to do is this: when you cultivate, you study these things, especially from Master YongHua, in Buddhism in particular, in Mahayana in particular. Hinayana, I don't care. Whatever Hinayana, you should follow it. Okay, but in Mahayana, there is this distinction here that Master YongHua never explained to his disciples because his disciples never got there. Okay, because you start out with this fundamental, okay, to build a proper foundation. And that's what he's providing, the proper foundation to cultivate the Fochi and Chanchi. It's incredible gift to all of us. And that's why we should share it freely. Okay? But also, once you get there, okay, then there's a time where you do the exact opposite. And that's a middle way. There'll be a time where it's okay to indulge and to discriminate, but only after you've been certified and after you are allowed to do that. Just because you're certified doesn't mean you can. Okay? I'm not sure you get it, but it's okay. Any questions? Even though you don't get it, I still have to tell you for the record. And again, as far as you're concerned, you come to our temple right now, don't worry about this. After I'm gone, next generation, the Xian generation, you don't have to worry about it either because the technology is still there. Third generation, not sure yet. All right? Meaning I'm training my disciples, my Xian disciples, to make sure that they understand how to guide you. American style, not Chinese style here. Yes, YouTube. Because this is too slow
네,
for me.
율도님의
I'm very
질문입니다.
impatient. I'm too American. This is too slow. Go ahead.
네, 유불도님의 질문입니다. 일반적인 채식주의에선 인지 능력의 수준에 따라 종류를 분류합니다. 그래서 소, 돼지보다 닭고기를 먹는 게 낫고 닭보다 조개 같은 해물을 먹는 게 낫다고 합니다. 저는 소, 돼지, 닭고기는 거의 안 먹지만 조개, 전복 등 해물을 좋아합니다. 그런데 해물은 소, 돼지보다 크기가 작다 보니 결과적으로 더 많은 수의 생명을 먹게 됩니다. 불교에서도 동물의 등급을 나누나요? 소, 돼지보다 해물을 먹는 게 더 낫다고 할 수 있나요?
Master, generally, people divide animals according to their intelligence. For example, in vegetarian, cow, pork, compared to chicken, the cow and porks are a lot more intelligent. So since they're intelligent, it's better to eat less intelligent animals, such as maybe chicken would be better than cow or pork, or clam or abalone would be much better. The problem is abalone and clams are much smaller in size, so we have to eat a lot more. Basically, there are more lives in clams and abalone, but we're eating a lot more. So in Buddhism, do they also divide these animals by their intelligence?
No, we don't. Because we're not that intelligent. It's for the scientists to decide who's more intelligent. Okay, we don't do that because we practice looking at ourselves. We don't looking at someone say, that guy is more intelligent, I will teach him more, and this guy not intelligent, I will ignore him. That's what happens when you start looking at people and comparing their intelligence. Okay, we don't do that, and that's number one. That's one reason that you can understand. Second reason is that it's discriminating. You're discriminating animals. You eat too much of the pigs. There's no pork left in the world. We're going to be in trouble. Okay, yeah. Same thing. Same thing. You are discriminating too much, and that's not cultivation. When you cultivate, as you've been listening to this Dharma talk here from Master YongHua, it's about you learning how to reduce your discriminating mind. That's how your wisdom would unfold. The more you use your discriminating mind, the more stupid you become. So that's why we don't discriminate animals. We save them all. We save anything that anyone, any animal, anything that comes our way and when we have a chance, without any discrimination.
Master, he also asked another question.
Yes.
Is it better to eat seafood than cow or pork meat?
I am prefer variety. Even with cows, I never try Wagyu beef, so I'm curious. I am the last person you want to ask because I have no idea. I cannot advise you on about what kind of meat is better to eat. You better ask the Tibetans or the Hinayana. We're not experts on meat eating. Okay? Sorry we can't help you. All right, anyone else? Don't believe me, but I start advising you about, you should eat lobster, it has to be from Maine, or oysters has to be, from New England and so forth. Then, yeah, and you're going to be in trouble when you listen to that kind of garbage from me. Anyone else? Okay, you only have 5 minutes left. I don't feel like going to a new topic. Anyone had any questions or things like to talk about? 7.
Dạ thưa thầy, con muốn hỏi câu hỏi hồi sáng á thầy, là nếu mà khi mình bị bóng đè như vậy đó thì mình có cái chú, thần chú gì hay là cái gì để phá trừ cái đó không thầy, hay là tự nhiên vậy thôi?
Hello, Master. I have a question related to this morning about being paralyzed by the Kumbhanda ghost. Do we have any type of mantra to be able to dispel that, or we just endure it?
The good news is that rarely will you die from it. On very rare occasions, I heard that somebody died. Okay, but that's like 1 in a billion. So it's scary. They're supposed to scare you. That's it. Okay, so don't worry. Don't worry. See, people accuse me of saying that too often. Don't worry. But if you no need to panic. You simply it's a challenge to you. So when they sit on you, you can't move. You use it as an opportunity to use your weapons, which transmitted to you certain things, certain mantras. Okay, make it a fun thing. Okay, and you have 42 hands and eyes. If you think of anything, recite it and beat the heck out of it. See what happens. That doesn't work. Try something else. Try something else. Try something else. Make it fun. They're not going to kill you. They just want to mess with you. That's all. Okay. And the worst case, you can always call on Wanyin Bodhisattva, Amitabha, any of these Mahasattvas or Buddhas. Don't call me. I'm not going to come. That's all. That's the only thing you don't want to do. Okay? Don't worry. It's not a big deal. Play with it. Okay? So that you have a reputation. You guys want to come? Okay? Be prepared to play with me. Yes, go Forrest.
I just want to share an experience. So I have experienced that many times before, and I'm to the point that I'm getting used to it. And at one point, I'm just like, I know how to push it out. I know how to get out of it. And then, in fact, this morning I was sleeping at the temple, and it happened again. And the same thing, I just...
Oh no, you're giving us a bad reputation.
I just push it out and continue sleeping. Yeah. So if you don't think too much about it, it's not a big deal.
They're just playing with you, that's all. Especially at the temple, you're not going to die. I guarantee you that. Oh, I shouldn't do that. And someday you understand why. I'm going to explain to you, because then the rest of the world will know why, and so forth. It's nonsense. But there's a reason why they come and harass you, okay? And one day, after you open your wisdom, you understand why. So it's really harmless. She's right. It's really harmless. It's just they're playing with you. That's all. Okay. Especially at the temple, at my temples, our temples, you have nothing to worry about. Because if they do any harm to you, they're going to be in big trouble. At home, I don't know. I can't guarantee you anything. Okay? All right, we stop here tonight. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night.